Students, in the continuation of the previous video, I shall start the remaining portion of the novel Emma. With insufferable vanity, had she believed herself in the secret of everybody's feeling, with an pardonable arrogance, she had she proposed to arrange everybody's destiny. She was now proved to have been universally mistaken, but she had caused much evil by her mistakes. She had brought evil on herself, on Harriet, and on Mr. Knightley. She now wishes that she has never met Harriet, or having met her, she had never pushed that girl forward but allowed her to remain where she had found her. Emma's snobbery also lands her in some trouble, just as her errors of judgment, too. She is on account of her snobbery that she rejects Mr. Martin as a possible husband for Harriet. She thinks that Mr. Martin, who is only a farmer, to be beneath the dignity of a girl like Harriet to marry. She puts false notion into Harriet's head, thus leading that girl first to look up as high as Mr. Elton and then even higher to Mr. Knightley. Emma Snowbury puts her in an embarrassing position even with regard to the Coles. But her snobbery creates a really bad situation for Emma. When she says something insulting to Miss Bates at Box Hill, Emma has always treated Miss Bates as a person belonging to the second-rate and third-rate category of persons in Highbury. She has always been contemptuous of that good-hearted woman. When, therefore, she insults Miss Bates, Mr. Knightley rebukes her in strong terms and opens her eyes to the quality of which she has been guilty in her treatment of Miss Bates. Emma then makes amends to Miss Bates by calling on her the very next morning. This too was an important incident in the education of Emma. She may not have been completely rid of her ingrained snobbery, but has certainly become more human. Another experience which plays an important part in the education of Emma is her dealing with Jane. In the beginning, she has been indifferent, almost hostile towards Jane. Jealousy was at the root of that indifference, bordering on hostility. Jane was much more accomplished and much more talented than herself. At the same time, Jane seemed to Emma to suffer from the fault of coldness and undue reserve. For all these reasons, Emma went to the length of suspecting Jane of having a secret love affair with Mr. Dixon. In this case, again, Emma had allowed her fancy to have the better of her understanding. In this case, Emma proved to be an imaginist. And in this case, also Emma undergoes a change of heart. She realizes the real worth of Jane and then tries to make amends to that girl for her past ill treatment of her. The subject of this novel, then, is the learning process which takes place in the heroine. Emma develops from conceited complacency through humiliation and a discovery of her own imitations to a happy marriage with Mr. Knightley and a more stable moral bearing. In this learning process, Mr. Knightley, of course, plays a leading role, by his constant advice, warning, and even rebukes. Next to Mr. Knightley's is the part played by Emma's personal experiences and her social contacts with other people. This education of Emma takes place in three phases. In the first phase, we became aware of the potentiality, dangerous results for herself and for others, which Emma's bearing may have. She draws Harriet away from Robert Martin and tries to involve her with Mr. Elton, only to discover that Mr. Elton's designs and his character are different from what she thought them to be. The second phase consists in Emma's resolve to make a match between Harriet and Frank, resolve which is doomed to complete failure, like her earlier resolve almost Harriet and Mr. Elton. It is in the third phase that Emma takes a real and substantial step towards self-knowledge. Mr. Knightley's rebuke to her for having insulted Miss Bates makes her realize how seriously she has failed in the sensitivity and discernment of her true position relative to others. Later on, after the deeper humiliation which follows realization that she loves Mr. Knightley, Emma learns the need for a new kind of control and management of the situation. If the underlying theme of the novel is the education of Emma, the recurrent irony is that Emma, who you must become a pupil, insists on acting as a teacher. Her mismanagement of the affairs of Harriet and the consequent difficulties to nearly every character in the novel and to herself as well, all come out of Emma's confusion of these two roles. Emma's education is twofold. First, she must recognize love as it is defined outside of her own private fancies. And second, she must recognize society as it is defined outside the limited bounds of the world of the novel. Only she recognizes that there is something outside. Can Emma be redeemed? Thus, the invasion of the inside by the outside becomes a dominant theme in the novel, and it is crossing and recrossing of the two outsides in the respect of love and in respect of society, which established the meaning and pattern of the novel. According to one critic, Marvin Mudrick, the novel does not show any real change in Emma at the end, and no significant changes at all. According to the critic, Mr. Knightley is in for a hard time as the future victim of Emma's domination. This view echoes that of Mr. Elton's in the novel. Mr. Elton pities Mr. Knightley for his decision to marry Emma. Thus, our critics believes that Emma at the end is just what she was at the beginning, and that there has been no education and no development. This is an interesting view, but it shows some perversity. The development or the improvement in Emma's character is unmistakable. Now, students, thank you.